Everything changed in a matter of seconds. Or rather, in a series of highly calculated, utterly ruthless front office decisions. Welcome to NFL Nexus. Listen, if you really want to understand the modern NFL, if you want to see exactly how a front office pushes literally every single chip they have straight to the center of the table, you are absolutely in the right place. Before we totally uncover the blueprint of the 2026 Indianapolis Colts, I need you to hit that subscribe button. Like this explainer, comment your thoughts down below on what you think about this wild strategy, and if you truly want to support the deep dive analytics we do here, consider becoming a channel member today. Because today, we are looking at a franchise on the absolute brink, a team that has engineered a roster so intensely top-heavy, so financially volatile, that it is quite literally Super Bowl or bust. The stakes, they have just never been higher. The pressure is immense. So let's go completely under the hood to see how this incredibly high-stakes machine is actually built. Here's the roadmap for our explainer today. We're going to start with their overarching all-in on 2026 strategy, then dive into the quarterback dynamic, the shuffling of the playmakers, investing in the trenches, the massive special teams turnaround, and finally, we'll wrap up with a look at the unsung hero of this entire operation. All right, part one, all in on 2026, financial manipulations for a Super Bowl push. Let's get right into it. To really understand the 2026 Colts, you have to completely grasp the evolving philosophy of their general manager, Chris Ballard. For years, right, the entire narrative around Indianapolis was patience. It was always draft, develop, retain, grow your own talent. But this offseason, man, the old playbook was thrown entirely out the window. The front office looked at their roster, looked at the absolute gauntlet that is the AFC landscape right now, and they made a definitive, highly aggressive choice. The future is right now. They are spending incredibly heavily on the offensive side of the ball, currently sitting with the 20th most expensive offense in the NFL at $136.39 million. But that ranking is a complete illusion. It hides a massive, highly orchestrated financial gamble. Just look at this number, $31.6 million. Despite handing out massive, franchise-altering extensions over the past few months, the Colts somehow find themselves sitting with the 7th most available cap space in the entire league for the 2026 season. So how on earth is this actually possible? Well, it's salary cap manipulation at its absolute finest. Every single recent big deal handed out by this front office features an artificially deflated cap hit for the 2026 season. They're doing this through the super aggressive use of void years and heavily backloaded base salaries. They've essentially cleared the entire deck for a one-year, all-out assault on the Lombardi Trophy. But make no mistake, the bill absolutely comes due in 2027. If this team fails to reach the summit this year, the financial hangover next season is going to be catastrophic. Contracts for their core stars are set to just balloon exponentially, and their defensive cornerstones, they're going to demand top-of-the-market money. That looming cap nightmare is the underlying tension riding on every single snap this year. Which brings us to part two, the quarterback dynamic, paying the starter and the backup. Now, this is a truly fascinating financial puzzle. The Colts have allocated $32.14 million just to their quarterback room alone. That accounts for over 10% of their entire salary cap, ranking 14th in the NFL. But it's not just one massive superstar taking up all that space. No, it is a highly unusual, totally pressurized dynamic between a newly acquired veteran and a highly drafted prospect. Enter Daniel Jones. The Colts brought in Jones on a 2-year, $88 million deal to be the absolute man under center. But notice the cap hit for this 2026 season. It is surprisingly manageable at just $19 million. This is the exact escape hatch the Colts needed. By keeping Jones's number relatively low for this specific year, they kept that Super Bowl window propped open just wide enough to surround him with premium talent. But listen, this also means the psychological pressure on Daniel Jones is just astronomical. He isn't here to rebuild a culture, okay? He isn't here to be a mentor to the youth. He is here to win a championship right now on a contract specifically designed to give the roster a competitive edge this single season. He knows exactly what's at stake. He knows the franchise's survival rests squarely on his right arm. And breathing right down his neck? Anthony Richardson. Richardson is currently carrying an $11 million cap hit as a backup. Think about that for a second. That is a massive, incredibly expensive price tag for a player holding a clipboard on Sundays. But you have to look at the player behind that number. Richardson is a total physical anomaly, a 6'4", 240-pound quarterback with an absolute cannon for a right arm and the breakaway speed of a premier running back, a former top 5 draft pick with a completely limitless ceiling. This is just the harsh reality of being in the final year of a first-round rookie contract. The Colts are effectively paying a massive premium for insurance, but it creates a literal ticking clock within the facility. You have an expensive veteran expected to lead a Super Bowl charge and an $11 million athletic phenom waiting right in the wings. If the offense stutters at all, if the losses start to pile up early, the fan base's impatience is going to boil over fast. And the noise surrounding this $32 million quarterback room, it is going to be absolutely deafening. Let's move to part 3, shuffling the playmakers, bold choices at wide receiver and running back. So, to support this high-stakes quarterback room, the front office had to make some pretty drastic decisions at the skill positions. And when I say decisions, I mean ruthless, calculated, totally sentiment-free choices. We are talking about the explosive playmakers here, the face of the franchise guys who sell the jerseys. The Colts looked at their offensive weaponry and realized a hard truth. They just couldn't pay everyone. In a salary-capped league, loyalty is very often the first casualty of ambition. They were forced into a franchise-altering crossroads. On one side, you have Michael Pittman Jr., the longtime locker room leader, an absolute staple of this offense for years, who bled blue and white. On the other side, Alec Pierce, the budding, highly explosive deep threat star who absolutely demanded a massive pay raise after an unbelievable breakout stretch. They literally couldn't keep both of them. So they made their choice. They traded Pittman away to the Pittsburgh Steelers, cutting ties with a beloved veteran and instantly altering the entire locker room dynamic. And in the very same breath, they handed Alec Pierce a colossal 4-year, $114 million extension. But, true to their 2026 strategy, they completely manipulated the math. Pierce's cap hit this year, it's only $9.2 million. Next year, it skyrockets to over $30 million annually. They've essentially shoved all of their chips into Alec Pierce's basket. If he doesn't perform like a definitive top 5 receiver in the NFL this year, this one single decision will haunt the franchise for half a decade. But the spending spree doesn't stop on the perimeter. Look right into the backfield. $15.5 million. That is the cap hit for running back Jonathan Taylor. In an era where literally every single analytics department in the NFL is screaming at general managers not to pay running backs, warning them about positional value and injury rates, the Colts are bearing the absolute highest running back cost in the entire National Football League. This proves without a shadow of a doubt that they are all in. They are completely defying modern team-building conventions because they fundamentally believe Taylor is the rare generational engine that makes this specific offense unstoppable. But it also means exactly this. There is zero margin for error, none. Behind him, it's just a battle between day 3 draft picks on cheap rookie deals. It is Jonathan Taylor's backfield, and at $15.5 million, he has to be absolutely nothing short of spectacular. Let's look at part 4, investing in the trenches, the imbalanced offensive line. Because here's the thing. All of these shiny weapons, all of these incredibly expensive skill players, they mean absolutely nothing if the offensive line crumbles at the point of attack. General Manager Chris Ballard has always preached that football is won and lost on the line of scrimmage. But this year, his approach is completely different. Notice the stark, almost crazy financial disparity between the left and right sides of this line. Over on the left side, you have an absolute fortress. Quentin Nelson is carrying a staggering $22.2 million cap hit. That is the 4th highest for guard in the entire league. Next to him, Bernhard Raimann, fresh off a massive $100 million extension, yet creatively carrying only a $9.2 million hit for 2026 because of that cap manipulation we talked about. But then, look at the right side. It is practically empty on the financial ledger. Matt Goncalves and Tanner Bortolini, guys drafted just back in 2024, are holding down the center and right guard spots on completely cost-controlled rookie deals. And whoever starts at right tackle, they're also going to be on a rookie contract. The Colts are entirely reliant on their premium left side dominating the game while just praying their young, incredibly cheap right side simply survives. Think about the immense pressure on a rookie right guard, stepping up to block the likes of a Chris Jones or a Quinnen Williams in the 4th quarter of a do-or-die playoff game. It's a highly calculated, frankly terrifying risk that perfectly encapsulates the razor's edge this entire team is walking right now. Moving on to part 5, special teams turnaround, the Brian Mason effect. Now, we've spent a lot of time today talking about massive contracts, blockbuster trades, and tens of millions of dollars. But to truly understand a championship caliber team, you really have to look past the marquee names. You have to look at the hidden third of the game, special teams. Because how do you actually lose games in the margins in the NFL? It's hidden yardage. It's starting a crucial game-winning drive at your own 15-yard line instead of the 30. It's a punt coverage unit giving up massive chunks of field position. It's those missed open field tackles that bleed the clock, crush your momentum, and completely exhaust your defense before they even take the field. When Shane Steichen took over this team, he brought in Brian Mason, a coach with 0 prior NFL experience, straight from Notre Dame. It was a massive gamble. And honestly, early on, it really looked like a mistake. But just track this incredible upward trajectory with me. This is the special teams DVOA metric, an advanced analytic that basically measures pure context-adjusted efficiency. In Mason's first year in 2023, the Colts were an abysmal 29th in the league at negative 3.1%. They were just bleeding out in the hidden yardage. But Mason didn't panic. He adjusted his schemes to the professional speed.
By 2024, they clawed their way up to 21st. And then last season, a monumental, game-changing leap to 4th overall in the entire NFL at positive 4.2%. They literally went from a massive liability to an elite game-winning weapon. This proves Mason's tactical brilliance translates perfectly to the NFL level. But he absolutely didn't do it alone. Behind this metric, behind the kickers and the dynamic returners, is the glue that holds it all together.
Which brings us perfectly to part 6, the unsung hero, the value of Luke Rhodes.
This brings us to the absolute micro level of our analysis today, the hidden anchor of the team, the player whose name is rarely called on a national broadcast, but whose absolute perfection is demanded on literally every single snap. We are talking about the unsung hero of this franchise, long snapper Luke Rhodes. Now, in a league entirely obsessed with wide receivers running precise routes and quarterbacks throwing these tight, beautiful spirals, it is a guy who bends over a football and snaps it backward between his legs that might just be the most respected man in that entire locker room. Rhodes' journey is incredibly fascinating. He is entering his 11th season with the Colts, making him the longest tenured player on the roster. But here's the craziest part. He didn't even start as a long snapper. He was actually a Mike linebacker in college. He played linebacker for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He completely transformed his body and his skill set into a specialist. But you know what? He kept that exact same mentality. A 2-time All-Pro, a Pro Bowler. He brings the violent, analytical, head-hunting mindset of a middle linebacker to the most specialized, nuanced position in sports. And the Colts rewarded him by making him, at the time, the highest-paid long snapper in NFL history with a 4-year, $6.465 million contract. He isn't just snapping the ball, guys. He's diagnosing complex rush protections, commanding the punt unit at the line of scrimmage, and sprinting downfield to violently tackle returners in the open field. Just listen to how special teams coordinator Brian Mason actually talks about him. Quote, "Bad snaps? I can't think of a single one. He's going to have the poise and presence like a Mike linebacker." End quote. Really think about the sheer gravity of that statement. In 3 years of highly pressurized, high-velocity NFL football with games totally on the line and weather conditions constantly fluctuating, his coach cannot recall a single bad snap. It is a level of sheer perfection that easily justifies every single cent of his unprecedented contract. If something is wrong with the protection scheme, Rhodes won't snap it. He stands up. He fixes it. He is the ultimate safety net that allows the rest of this highly volatile, wildly expensive roster to function without ever worrying about the game collapsing on a blocked punt. So we step back and look at the entire board. A $31 million cap illusion built entirely on borrowed time, a highly pressured $19 million quarterback with an $11 million athletic freak waiting right behind him, a beloved star receiver traded away for the explosive, expensive unknown of Alec Pierce, a heavily imbalanced offensive line leaning entirely on the left side, and an elite, hard-hitting special teams unit anchored by a former linebacker. This brings us to the ultimate question. Can a roster built on massive, backloaded offensive extensions and gritty, perfect special teams actually win it all in 2026? Or will the financial gambles, the scary rookie dependencies in the trenches, and the immense, crushing weight of expectations tear it all apart? The season is rapidly approaching, the window is closing, and the clock is ticking loud. Let us know what you think down in the comments. Can the Colts actually pull this high-wire act off? Thank you for deep diving with us here on NFL Nexus. Please don't forget to subscribe, like this explainer, and become a channel member to support this kind of deep dive content. We will see you next time as the incredible drama of the season unfolds.